Norina Bensel. When I met her a few years ago, she was the principal of a little elementary school in the middle of a cornfield in York County, which was perfect because she looked exactly like the principal of a little elementary school in the middle of a cornfield in York County. She was in her 50s. She wore those big, thick Darla glasses. She was so short that I had to do that big guy thing where you kind of spread out here just so you can hear what she's talking about. And from her office, she could see out the window to the front door of the school. And that's where she was one day when she noticed a stranger show up. He starts tugging at the door and peeking through the window, and she figures he's got to be a first-time dad who doesn't know about the security buzzer. Well, just then a mom shows up with her kid who's there for afternoon kindergarten. She gets buzzed in, and the stranger walks in behind her. So Norina gets up to find out what's going on, and she finds him down the hall, like looking into one of the kindergarten classrooms. So she walks up to him and says, "Can I help you find someone?" And he turns to her and comes after her with a machete. What she did next is the reason why everybody came out of that school alive. She could have screamed and run for her life. She could have balled up. She could have tried to grab his arm. Instead, she crossed her arms like in an X, and she began to back away, backing away from the classrooms and back toward her office where the alarm was. And she lured him away from the kids, even though he's coming at her with this machete over and over again. By the time she got to the office, her hands were pretty badly damaged, but she was still able to open that door, get inside, slam it shut, lock it, yell at the secretary to sound the alarm. They sound the silent alarm, and the school goes into lockdown, but they're just a little bit too late. The kindergartners have already been released from the morning session. So this guy's name was Joseph Stankiewicz. He was an Army veteran. He'd married a Russian bride who had ditched him and run off. Her kids had gone to Norina's school a few years earlier, and that's why, to his deranged mind, this is the place to come for revenge. So at that moment, the kindergartners are all pouring out in the hallway, and he starts to go to work. He goes after one girl. Luckily, she ducks. It cuts through the back of her neck and gets her ponytail. He goes after a boy, but it catches his arm. It shatters it, but doesn't cut it off. Norina is in her office, and she hears the pandemonium in the hallway, and she does something I think is unbelievable. She opened the door. The only thing between her and the man trying to kill her is that door. But she heard those kids screaming, and she opens that door. And she starts pulling kids inside, and the school secretary and the nurse are grabbing these kids, and they're stuffing them in the closets and putting them under desks, trying to hide them. And all of a sudden, Norina goes flying across the room because Stankiewicz has shoved inside the door. Norina gets back up, and she's in front of him, and this time he really starts to go to work with that machete. He's doing a lot of damage to her until she falls to the floor, pretty badly gashed up. Then he turns to the kids, but something weird happens. He can't move his arms. His arms are frozen because Norina, the 50-year-old with the big Darla glasses, who's never been in a fight in her life, has come back off that floor and thrown herself on his back and grabbed him in a bear hug. And he's thrashing around trying to get rid of her, and he can't. And the secretary hears a sound. She hears a clink. He's dropped the machete. By this point, the police are racing in, and when they get there, that's where they find Norina, still on his back, with her arms bleeding, still holding on to this guy. To me, that's why she's a hero. Because most of us, the reason why we freeze in a crisis is not because we're not brave enough, it's because your animal brain does not want to experiment in a moment of life and death. If you've never flown a plane or raced through a fire or fought a guy with a machete, your brain's going to look for the familiar, and it's going to back off. It's going to shut down. Norina found the one thing that she could do, which was to hug. And she told them that. So they're able to save her arms and reattach her fingers. And when they were sentencing this fucker to like 1 million years in prison, she was there in the courtroom, and she looked him in the eye, and she said, "I kept holding on to you to comfort you." And he looked back at her and said, "I know."